You have any dates set up for that yet?
For the cleanups?
Yeah.
No, not yet. But I think at this point, I'm aiming for like very early January is going to be the first time we actually get out there. Because I wanted to make it happen in December, but when I tell you life has been busy, like I said, my wife just successfully defended her PhD. We had the grad party last night, and I was up till about 3 a.m. But I'm here, and we're doing okay. But trying to fit everything in time wise is just a struggle right now.
Yeah. So, is there any other things coming up with you guys that you really want to talk about? I know you got some tournaments you're going to be coming up with and stuff.
Yeah, and that's probably the thing that we're most excited about is that we got back into the tournament game in a big way last year, and what we're going for this year is called the Legion Elite Tournament Series, and that's going to be a tournament series that goes around the bay and it's going to culminate down at Mattawoman Creek. But I do want to highlight a few things about it. First of all,
John,
our main and biggest sponsor, Delaware Paddle Sports. At the championship round of this tournament series, 4 tournaments total, 3 that are going to be on the trail. 4th is going to be the championship down at Mattawoman. The winner down there gets a free, excellent fishing kayak from courtesy of Delaware Paddle Sports.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I mean, I have a list here so I don't miss any of the other sponsors we have signed up so far. But, Edgemere Bait and Tackle, Naqua, Drave, Drink More Water, Action Hat. There's a few more. We're going to get announcements out about all of them. But it's something we're really excited about because, and you see this a lot more. I've watched the Facebook groups where we've been discussing what do we do about the snakehead tournament environment because there's been some struggles and growing pains us going through it. And the point I think most people have arrived at now, single launch, single location, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. Everyone knows where each other are. Everyone can kind of watch each other, and everyone is on a kind of an even playing field, or as even as we can make it. Because we're all fishing the same water at that point.
Right.
No one's got like a secret private pond or something crap like that.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, aside from that, what you do after the fact, and which that's probably the more important point, is that you're able to hang out. You swap the fish stories after the tournament. We usually have snacks, drinks, refreshments, the tournament ceremony and the awards and all that. And I just think we're looking forward to kind of bringing the community back together. We've had a lot of offline conversations with a lot of different people out there, and we're looking at working together going forward. I'm pretty excited about it.
So the best thing I can say is make sure everybody's at the same ramp.
Yeah. Oh no. And that's the thing. It's like you got a ramp, you got to check in. We check bump boards, make sure everything is good to go there. We got various different like tips and everything else and guidelines we provide when we're at the ramp. You got to check in. You got to check in off the water. And it's like, to some degree, I know a lot of guys out there don't want all that structure, and I get it. A lot of guys just want to go out and fish.
Yeah,
but like you run into like a few personalities, and I don't want to get in the weeds. We're on good terms with some people that we've had some small issues with in the past. We're on good terms now. So I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm just saying that it's best to have at that single location so that we can all fish together and hang out. And at that point, it's a friendly competition. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like I love to compete, but I'm not competing so I can like drag somebody through the dirt. I'm competing because I love testing myself against other great anglers out there. And I hope that other anglers and competitors feel the same.
Well, when it comes to the kayak, I got the River Runners Bass Club on there.
That's a great tournament. It's a great club. They do tournaments throughout the year too.
Well, that's kind of what my buddy Keith, we did it with the boats. And we started out when we all launched off the same spot, but we were doing the CPR.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just kind of what you had. We just had a bad experience with a guy we just met that just joined the club.
Yep.
And he did it twice. And we're like, and we went to weigh in back in fish. I like the CPR. I like the CPR because you can release the fish where you catch it.
Yeah. That's a big deal. Go ahead. That's a big deal.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Because when it's cool out like this or it's cold out there, it's not so much of a stress. But when you got 5 largemouth and it's 100 degrees out and they're sitting and you catch them early in the morning and you got to be back to weigh in at 3 o'clock, you got them fish. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can take care of them, but it stresses the damn fish and you're moving. If you got 15 boats out there and you bring in 30 fish to that one area that you're dumping them off, it's never shown to be a bad thing. But I just like it that you can put your fish back where you caught it.
I agree. I like CPR. I think is the way to go for a lot of reasons. And don't get me wrong, I grew up watching big bass tournaments.
Yeah,
like that's what I did. Like Jimmy Houston, Bill Dance.
That's what got me into. Bass fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I used to love watching those weigh-ins and watching them pull out those big bass. And like to some degree, I still understand the spectacle. I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, it's just a question of weighing our impact versus, what our priorities are. It's just kind of what it is.
Well, I still like to see PR. Unfortunately, I know like 5 or 6 years ago, there was this really, really big kayak guy that won a lot of tournaments, and he was caught cheating. He was caught bending a board.
Come on.
So when you get that board, he had it up on his side, and he was actually bending it to make the fish look big.
So that's a great. I'm glad you brought that up. For our tournament series, that's one thing that we're going to be changing is the required bump board. So always check the descriptions. You can find all of our tournament series. We're going to go around the bay. We're going from the east side, west side, upper bay, and then down at Mattawoman. But the thing I'm driving at with those bump boards right there, there's certain brands of bump boards like the Fraybill, which I've used for a long time. I've used the gray 36-inch extendable Fraybill for a long time. If you're just using that board to get like a rough estimate of what the fish you caught, no problem. But in a tournament, we're not going to allow that anymore because those few unscrupulous people out there, or even people who are just doing things accidentally sometimes, you may think you have the board extended all the way and you don't. Or, like the weight of that fish will put some flex in that board.
Right.
But there are boards like made by Catch in particular, and a few others out there that are much more firm and they won't flex. So make sure you read the kind of detailed description to find out what kind of boards we are allowing, because the issues like you're describing right there is exactly what we're trying to avoid.
So when is the first tournament? Did I not catch that?
The first tournament here, I got.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what we're here. We're here to talk snakehead. Hey, does anybody got any questions about snakeheads? You got something about snakeheads there?
Let us know.
I can't believe you. I'm blown away that you came down here.
With these videos over the year, I've answered so many questions. Yeah, the first tournament is going to be April 28th, 2024. That's going to be our Eastern Shore tournament. The tournament after that will be May 19th. That'll be on the west side. Then on June 23rd, we're going to have our Upper Bay tournament. And I can explain exactly why we do this rotation too, because that's going to be helpful for y'all to just catch fish, period. And then finally on July 28th, we have our championship round down at Mattawoman.
Why so early in the year?
So the end of April is usually when you start hitting a reliable bite for snakehead, honestly. And it depends on the year. Sometimes we have really warm March and April. Sometimes we have a really cold like May, which we had like this year. It was really wild.
It was warm early. Yeah, like in April, it was like really, really warm.
It was really warm. And then it fell out, and like winter came back. It was ridiculous. But generally speaking, the end of April is usually when you're hitting temps that you're going to have a reliable snakehead bite. Not just reliable, one of the best bites of the year. That's the first pre-spawn bite. That's when they feed as heavy as I've ever seen them feed. So April 28th, but we chose the Eastern Shore for a reason. Those Eastern Shore waters over there are usually shallower. They have a dark bottom. And because of that, it's less volume, it's less mass for the sun to have to warm up. So you're going to have higher levels of activity, generally speaking, in those shallow Eastern Shore waters early in the year than you will a lot of other places. That's why we're starting on the Eastern Shore over there. Then we brought it over to the Western Shore, because the Western Shore is going to warm up a little bit earlier than the Upper Bay. Because the Upper Bay gets all that snow melt coming down the Susquehanna, and it's a lot colder water up there. It takes longer to warm up. So that's why we go from the east side to the west side to the upper, and then close it out down on Mattawoman, because Mattawoman is just a heck of a fishery, man. I mean, back in the day, that used to be snakehead mecca. Back 2012, from talking to my buddies who used to fish it back then, I was still bouncing around in the Army at the time. But back like 2012, 2013, Mattawoman was insane. Now, there's still good numbers of snakehead there, period, like full stop. And we still catch a lot of big fish. But, I mean, over time, when at nighttime, that river looks like a series of baseball diamonds from all the boat fishers.
Right.
I don't know if it's still like that, but in recent times is what it was like. So they thinned them out, but you still got a lot of big fish and a lot of good fish in there.
Well, they're moving. I mean, I watched you on the one video. I think you were fishing a tournament where you pretty much set off of a point. I mean, you were like really, really far.
I'm glad you said that.
Really, really far off the point. So, yes, I do watch your video.
Yeah, I know, right? So that was Virginia Kayak Anglers Elite. So that's actually founded and operated by several of our Legion teammates. And it's a great crew of guys down there, and they put together a very high quality, well-run tournament. So especially if you're down in Southern Maryland, Virginia, you want to look into a snakehead tournament, VKAE, excellent organization to work with.